offseason, the Russell Westbrook Kings stuff won't go away.
It won't go away.
It is just there, despite the fact that Kings don't have money to realistically sign him, despite the fact that they got Dennis Schroeder, that the Russell Westbrook stuff is still, he's a lingerer.
Yeah.
Just lingering.
Okay, so like just the nuts and bolts of it, like the Kings realistically, they don't have much money. If they sign him to a league minimum deal, they might be able to finagle the salary cap a little bit and fit him in, right? Because you're only going to pay like the 2.2 million, not the 3.8 million that he's actually going to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to bust into like the biannual exception, then you're going to go over the cap to sign him. The biggest problem is that they just don't have a space for him. And like, I'm just going to take the Devin Carter conversation and just put it way to the side because I don't think anyone knows whether he's a ball player or not at the NBA level at this point. And like, who knows, right? But that doesn't change the fact that you still have, Dennis Schroeder, you still have Malik Monk, you still have Keon Ellis, you still have Zach LaVine. Like your backcourt is packed. Now, would you like to have another guard? Yeah, as like a third point guard, sure, that's fine. But that's not what Russell Westbrook is, even at his advanced age in the NBA by NBA standards. So, like the only way to actually move forward with this is if you actually pull off one of these deals that we keep hearing about, like whether it's Devin Carter as part of a package that goes to the Golden State Warriors that helps you land, a guy like Jonathan Kuminga, or it's Malik Monk going to some other team in order to facilitate a trade as well. Like there are ways in which the Kings can get this done, but they have to clear out at least one and probably two players from that backcourt before they go and push any button, because like Russell Westbrook and Malik Monk will not work in the backcourt off the bench. I can guarantee you that.
No, that doesn't. There's just, you start running out of minutes. We talk about this all the time, and I think it's something that matters a lot. Is you just don't, between Zach LaVine and Nick Clifford, who you're trying to get in the rotation, and Dennis Schroeder, and then Malik Monk, and if it's Russell Westbrook, there's just you start running out of minutes. Like that's just the facts of it. Let me ask you this. If the Kings did just have the money, just outright, they had the space and could just sign Russell Westbrook outright, do you think they would do that and then try and figure out a trade down the line?
Maybe. Yeah, because, I mean, we've talked about this a bunch of times. They still have like guys like Terrence Davis who are on non-guaranteed contracts. They could, like in theory, just waive him and clear up a little bit of space. They could waive and stretch provision Dario Saric. But here's the problem again. Like if you waive and stretch provision Dario Saric, you walk into the season with your power forwards as Keegan Murray and Isaac Jones. That's it. No one else. And it's not like Doug McDermott can slide over and play the position. It's not like you're going to count on big minutes from DeMar DeRozan to play that minute, or Nick Clifford. Like there's very few ways in order to get more, to add depth to that position.
Right.
Like if the Kings should add depth, that's where it should be. You should spend your money and your capital, go out and get a guy like Chris Boucher if he's willing to take the minimum or something. Like there are ways in which you can help your team. And I'm not saying that Russell Westbrook wouldn't help the team. I mean, he played 75 games last year. He'll be 37 in November.
I don't get it. The Russell Westbrook thing, just to be totally frank, I get why you would want to sign a future Hall of Famer to your team, but from the Kings' perspective, I don't get why you would bend over backwards to get Russell Wilson. Not Russell Wilson, certainly Russell Wilson, but Russell Westbrook as well.
Russell Westbrook at Wilson would be an undersized point guard.
Yes, for sure. I don't know why you would. It feels like they're trying to get their talent floor to the point that they make the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like. This is not Dennis Schroeder's going to start, but then we're going to mix in Malik Monk and some Devin Carter and some Nick Clifford and kind of see what we have. It's like, no, we want to make sure we have two legit point guards because we're trying to make the playoffs this year.
Well, that and like, look, I think we're going to talk about grades here, right?
Yes.
Here for offseason grades so far. and
stealing this content from another show,
from another podcast, clearly. But there is a way in which you actually could get a lower grade by adding Russell Westbrook right now. Because if you haven't cleared up the issue of your backcourt, then adding him doesn't help. And actually, it adds just a level of chaos that there's no reason to add. There is absolutely no reason to add a level of chaos unless you're able to clear up the roster situation, the roster imbalance. And so, like, I don't like if Russell Westbrook is the backup point guard, and I'll make the same exact argument I made last week about Malik Monk and Dennis Schroeder. Hey, there's nothing that says that Russell Westbrook wouldn't be the starting point guard mid-season.
Sure.
Or that he wouldn't beat out Dennis Schroeder.
Sure.
I mean, he started a whole hell of a lot more games than Dennis Schroeder has in his career.
Yeah.
But, like, there's no reason to add that player if you can't even play the players that you have currently.
Right.
And so it just becomes like a really messy situation. Even if, heaven forbid, you do something crazy like trade Keon Ellis in a deal to go get a player like, Jonathan Kuminga. I would not do that at all. But that doesn't clear up the space that you need because you don't have the shooting guard to play there. And so it would, I mean, maybe Terrence Davis, you keep him on the roster. I don't know, but it still would be a very complicated situation. And so I hope they figure it out. I mean, the offseason is still, we still have 9 weeks left. We still have a ton of time here between now and training camp, but they have a lot of work to do still, it feels like.
Yeah, and the way the Westbrook stuff keeps hanging around, and the fact that we're now seeing reporting that the Kings are not going to do that unless they can facilitate a trade. It just, I don't know how far down that road, but it feels like things are heading down that road.
Yeah.
Like where there's enough things happening behind the scenes. And we talked about this the other day. Just because the Kings aren't doing anything publicly or making any moves or their roster is kind of as it currently stands is set, that doesn't mean they're on PTO. Like feet up, hanging out until training camp. Like there's still conversations going on. And it feels like to me, based on the reporting, that, and again, just the way these things kind of go, it feels like there's some amount of distance down that road.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, Scott Perry is super active. Like, he is trying his best. He sees what everyone's saying out there.
Yeah, of course.
He sees it all, and he's trying his best to improve the roster, but he was left with, like, not just an unbalanced, broken roster, but a roster that is extremely top-heavy as far as financials. And it's just extremely difficult when you don't have, like, we talk about, trading for Kuminga, right? Like, they're offering up Dario Saric and Devin Carter as part of a trade, right? That's been the reported thing, but it's also something I've heard like a million times. That's kind of what they're offering. Like, once you get past that $5 million mark of Dario Saric, $5.5 million, and the same with Devin Carter, like, you don't really have other, like, you have a $10 million player in Keegan, maybe $11 million bucks. But then you jump way up high. There isn't all of this, like, this happy space where you can, take an $8 million player and add it. When you traded Valanciunas, that eliminated your one, like, $10.5 million player that you could use as an asset.
Right.
So now they're in this weird space where they don't have a bunch of players, and they have things like a mid-level exception, but the mid-level, in order to use that, it even gets more complicated. That would have to go somewhere else. Like, you can't aggregate that with another player or another exception.
Well, it's part of the reason why the Jalen Green contract from the Rockets was what it was, in part because they went, hey, we might have to move one of these young players, and we would like to have a big contract on a young player to be able to move.
Yep.
And there's a theory that the same thing went for the Jabari Smith Jr. contract. Like, at some point, you just want that level of deal, right? It's like having a $1 bill, and then the Kings have, okay, we have two $1 bills and then a bunch of $100 bills.
Yes.
You're like, okay, but the thing is $5. Do you have a 10? I can break a 10.
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, I mean, it's also the reason why the Warriors aren't.
Spot.
They're not like overly excited to get rid of Kuminga, and it's not because they want Kuminga the player.
Mm-hmm.
It's because they would like to have like an $18 to $20 million contract that they can trade.
Yeah.
At the deadline.
Right.
And again, if you're taking back a $5 and a $6 million, that doesn't help you when you're big game hunting like they do.
Just real quick, off the beaten path here. Teron Jackson, the 49ers defensive lineman, if you missed it, he was taken off the practice field yesterday on a stretcher and moved to Stanford Hospital for evaluation for a neck injury. He was discharged from the hospital last night. He's back in the building today. He's not going to practice today. Team's going to continue to evaluate that neck issue, but he was communicating yesterday, had a movement of his extremities, and is now released from the hospital and is back in the team facility. So salute to Teron Jackson. Happy to hear that he's healthy, because that is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying when it's in pads and you hear that a player got stretchered off. When you hear that a player just kind of went down in the middle of practice, I mean, there was a play going on. He didn't just fall down with no pads on. That to me is even more scary. But he's good to go. So just wanted to get that bit of news out there, because that is a pretty significant deal for the 49ers, who are now wearing pads today in training camp. But on the Kings Russell Westbrook stuff, to me, that's also, it goes back to the conversation we're having last week about where the Kings kind of see Malik Monk in this point guard situation. This, to me, the Russell Westbrook stuff is just further evidence that the Kings don't view Malik Monk as that position.
Yeah.
Even if he can credibly play minutes there, which he can, not even if he can, we've seen him do it. But to me, this is a sign that the front office is like, that's not a viable option for us.
I think it also, it's kind of the reverse of what a lot of the other teams are doing, where they're trying to find like that $18 to $20 million thing that they can use to go trade for things.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a 3-year contract of that, it makes it a little more difficult. And so, like, if you're the Kings and you're looking at your books, you know that DeMar DeRozan will likely fall off next year with like a $10 million buyout.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the year after that, you have $49 million of Zach LaVine that will fall off the books.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can accelerate that process at all, then, you probably are going to, right? So we keep hearing summer of 2027 might be like a more realistic target for the Kings. Well, the summer of 2027, Malik Monk's going to make like $21 million, $22 million.
Mm-hmm.
So like you're trying to find the right pieces for your roster right now, but you're trying to use this trade chip that you have and move stuff around, because you also think you can go cheaper at the position.
Sure.
And maybe find somewhat close to the same productivity.
Yeah.
I think that, again, at this point in their careers, Malik Monk is a better player than Russell Westbrook, but a better player at $3.5 million versus 18 or 19. That's a big difference in money.
Yeah.
And if you already have a certain amount of money tied up at the point guard position, it would, might make sense for you to go out and move on from him and find something cheaper.